moment of grieving. And I think particularly if you think that it's something that's not very nice or that shouldn't have happened. And military service, you know, just it seemed so ridiculous that Italy should still be having military service, and more ridiculous that they were calling up my
baby.
My baby, you know.
It must have been terrible.
Well, the first week I think was almost as bad for me as it was for Julian.
Yeah.
And now he's sort of getting used to it. It's been 3 months.
Also, he was slightly excited initially, wasn't he? I mean, the idea of going into the army was frightening, but he thought it was also slightly exciting.
Yes, I mean, he liked the idea of the uniform, the big boots, the guns, learning to throw hand grenades and all sorts of horrible things like that. But anyway, I wanted to show you the pictures, which is, one was taken in Sarah's kitchen when he was living here, just got up in the morning. About 7 o'clock, and the other was taken 7 o'clock in the training camp. You can sort of see the difference.
Oh, I say, he looks so different, you'd almost not recognise him.
When I got that photograph, I thought I was looking at a stranger.
Yes, Via sent it to me, which I thought was really mean, because at least she'd seen him in real life. And it really made me miserable.
Has he tucked his hair up under the cap? Or?
No, he has short back and sides.
I can't imagine him with short back and sides.
No.
As Jamila said, I like Julian better with long hair.
Yes, being very tactful. Yes, I think she found it. She found it just like looking at a stranger. That wasn't somebody she'd loved and known and does love. It was...
He looks quite grown up now, though, doesn't he? I mean, he looks kind of innocent in the other one. Now he looks different.
You said, in fact, that he looked younger because he's eating like a pig there. He's the only young recruit who likes the food.
Yes, it's absolutely tragic, because it really means my food is so bad that army food seems like a treat after it. He sometimes goes back for 3 helpings of everything.
So I suppose all that marching up and down will kind of use it up, will it?
No, he looks quite podgy. In fact, I think he's going to have to sort of control his enthusiasm. But...
How long will he be in?
A year, and they get the equivalent of about £1 a day, which means we also have to subsidise his being in the army, because, you know, they've got to have a bit of money so far.
What do they actually do, Vida? I mean, do they...
Well, it's learning to march, shoot guns, throw hand grenades. Stand guard is one of the main things. He stood guard for 12 hours in a latrine, which he didn't think was the most useful or growing experience.
What was he guarding it from? I mean,
enemies, apparently.
Oh, really?
Enemies that might creep in the back way.
I assumed it was soldiers who were coming into Skive, who would sort of sit there. I thought maybe he was clearing them out when you first told me.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Cheer yourself up, Vida, come on.
Oh.
After you losing your poor baby.
What lovely looking things.
Aren't they beautiful? Actually, it's a girlfriend of mine, Jane, who makes these most beautiful... Hold that, Lucy, and you can see it better. Beautiful duvet covers.
It's got sweets all over it.
This is what inspired her.
Yes.
Well, does she do this professionally?
Yes. Actually, I admire her very much because she's very young, and she did... she went to Leeds University. And when she came out, she went to Bristol for a while and couldn't settle, so she went home to Sherborne, her hometown. And she thought, well, I'll have a go myself. And I thought, what a super thing for a youngster to have a go at. You know, everyone says...
Shows a lot of initiative and...
And that is...
Giant tea cone.
It's lovely cotton, isn't it?
It is. And this is the headboard cover. Because you know, they're horrible sort of headboard covers.
Oh, yes.
She's done it, isn't it? Yeah. And with that, you see, you can have hundreds of scatter cushions all to match.
Lovely. That means if your child throws himself down in a tantrum, he won't hurt his head.
Does she sell these to shops?
I think she will sell them to anybody. I mean, she likes, basically, for you to go in and say, look, I want a theme. I would like Donald Duck, or I would like Humpty Dumpty. I mean, she doesn't only do children's.
Look at this floating astronaut. His suit's all puffy.
Isn't it lovely?
With his bucket trying to milk the...
cow that jumped over the moon. Yeah.
That's lovely.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But she's got a beautiful
Lovely cotton there.
double one, which is of Adam and Eve. I mean, if you had a theme for your bedroom, you would just go to her and say, look, I want something on a duvet, but I don't know what, and she'll work it out with you.
That's really lovely. So you have a very personalised
thing,
yes.
And these are the cushions she makes, which I think are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes, I like
Either to put on your bed or on your
They're your initials?
Yes,
Obviously,
yes.
P. Or a B.
I bought an L for you somewhere, Lucy, but oh, here it is.
That looks quite like you, Lucy.
That's a beautiful, yes, beautiful design on that.
Suppose if you had somebody with a short name, you could make the whole thing, couldn't you?
Yes, indeed, Pat.
You could get a
Bill.
lot and write "Be quiet" on the bed.
Yes, behave.
Wouldn't take much notice.
Does she make, is it all bedroom
No,
accessories?
she does a lot of things. She also does, she'll cover furniture. She does pottery.
Really?
Terribly clever.
She is terribly clever. And also now she's thinking of going out into the world of fashion, which will be lovely because you'll be able to go in and she will make.
You'll be able to match your duvet cover.
with your dress.
And a piqué is really not that easy, is it? I
It
mean,
isn't.
has she been doing it a long time?
She's only just started it. I mean, I couldn't. Well,
How old is
I
she?
can't sew a button on. She's very young girl, yes.
Mm.
Which this is what I admire with her. I mean,
I bet her
everybody's
bedroom is
sort
gorgeous.
of running the youngsters down and saying they won't have a go.
But she's actually setting up in business.
Yes, she wandered around. She wanted a showroom, or not a showroom, a workshop, but she didn't know what. And it is a beautiful, beautiful workroom. It's got all beams and it's white and it's lovely. You know, directly she walked in, she said, "That's it. That's it."
Yes.
But there's a lovely D here, which
This would be, I'd love to have an A for a Damily.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
this
And they're
one,
comfortable too.
Yes.
I mean, they're not
But
only
you couldn't, you
nice
don't have to
looking.
put them in the bedroom, do you? I
If you
mean,
put a
could
face on them, they're so cuddly. They're like a toy, aren't
You could have them in your lounge. I mean, it's
Indeed,
youngsters
yes.
that are sharing flats. They could.
they? You could say, "Put down my mug and get off my cushion this minute."
I like the idea that you can go in and have a theme made especially for you. Something that, suits your personality or your child's
Absolutely.
personality.
Absolutely.
But I find some of the letters are better than others. Do you know what I mean? They feel the. I mean, I think
Feel
that
more
H is
cushiony.
lovely.
Yes. Fits
This is a new product about which I'm very excited, actually, because for years, as you know, they've been injecting turkeys with butter and with oil. But this time they've come up with something quite new, and this is injected with dried skimmed milk and honey.
Dead, you mean?
I hope so, Anne.
Well, I just thought I'd clear that up. Sort of running around catching them and a quick squirt, of honey. Very nice.
Which means that when it's cooked, it gives it not only a very delicious flavour, but also a succulence, a moistness, which you don't find with all turkeys.
No.
It really is an excellent thing, I think, anyway. So I thought, now, what would be interesting to enhance the flavour of the honey? So what I've done is to begin to loosen the skin away from the flesh, and you do that by going up carefully. Do you see?
Yes.
I'm actually breaking
Yes, I love doing
breaking it's like a fine membrane which is between the skin and
it's
the
not
flesh.
difficult, is it?
It's
As long as
not
you
difficult. You just have to be
push.
careful, that's right, that you don't make a hole in the skin. And in actual fact, the skin on a fresh turkey, of course, is tougher than the one on a frozen.
Is he frozen?
bird. Oh, yes, he's frozen, yes.
Because he looks
Yes.
lovely and dry and sort of plump.
Well, yes, well, now, the secret in doing that, not the plumpness, but
Yeah.
the secret in actually defrosting it correctly is to do it very slowly. There are all kinds of schools of thought on this, but I have tried them all, and I'm really convinced that if you wrap it and take the plastic bag off it, and then wrap it in towels and put it into a refrigerator in the bottom, in the coldest part, and leave it until it's totally defrosted. That is the best way to do it.
So the towel absorbs the
The
moisture.
towel absorbs it, but also it doesn't defrost so quickly, and so therefore you don't lose so much of the natural moisture that's in the bird out into the towels. You see, as you would when you leave it out in a warm room. So now a nice Cox's orange pippin, because there is just nothing like the
they're the most perfect
the
apples,
scent
yes.
of a pippin, and also the flavour. Now, I line up those in underneath the skin.
Not that I had any on my tree,
bet.
as I told you.
No, poor old you. You
one.
had, mind you, a
Not
lot of
one.
my friends who've got marvellous apple trees, they've had very, very bad crop this year.
3 Bramleys.
Oh,
Couldn't decide what to do with them.
oh dear. Now-
Mary, how will I know it's the honey and thing one? Is it labelled?
Oh yes, it's
Yeah.
it's on the label.
Good.
It tells you. And it's the nice golden honey. It really is delicious. I'd like you to try it. If you weren't busy tonight, I'd say come home with me and we'll cook this one. But you're busy, so you can't.
You're
But-
hoping I'm busy. You haven't actually asked me outright, have you?
Very well. What about it? What about it? I happen to know you're going. I happen to know you're going out.
Have a long journey.
Anyway, there we are. Now, if you wanted to, of course, you can also put underneath the legs as well, and of course more. Just fill it up absolutely with the apple, and then for the stuffing. Now, could you pass me the crumbs, dear, please? Thank you.
That's nice. What's in there?
Well, now I thought to myself, we must have something very complimentary to the apples and the honey. So, for this size bird, which is about £9, half a pound of soft brown breadcrumbs, white if you like, doesn't matter, but soft breadcrumbs, and 4 ounces of very, very soft butter, and you bash those both together. And then into that, some walnuts chopped, a little finely chopped onion, 2 of the said orange pippins,
Yes.
peeled obviously and cored.
I must write this down, Mary. It's a lovely,
I've got it written down, I'll give it to you actually.
lovely stuffing recipe.
And it is a nice one, and a few raisins. And leave those out. I mean, the whole thing about cooking is it's a variation on a theme. So if there's something there that you don't like, leave it out. Put
Yes.
something else in that you do like. And about 2 tablespoonfuls of either red currant jelly or cranberry.
That's nice.
Whichever you prefer. And I think I prefer cranberry, so I'm putting that into it. And then you mix all that well together. Now you can either put it separately into a well-greased dish and bake it and have it with it, or you can put a little in under the neck there, just a little in underneath there, so that the flavour goes into the bird together with the apple, and then bake the rest of it off separately. But under no circumstances do I ever put it into the cavity.
No, neither do I.
No, but you'd be surprised the
I
number of
hate it.
people, in fact, who do.
I loathe it. It's soggy, and I just don't like the thought of where it's been.
And also,
See
you
what I
get
mean?
a certain amount of residual blood in there.
Yes.
You can't help it. That was a little paprika, by the way.
But if you have a lot of people, yes, if you have a lot of people, it's easier to put it in a dish, because otherwise the last person doesn't get any stuffing.
And also, what I find about it is that it doesn't cook out as, doesn't dry out as
No.
much, you see.
No.
Anyway, there we are. There is the stuffing.
Well, I shall have to do a couple at least.
How many people have you got
turkeys.
this year?
Well, I don't know. It looks like about 12. It's not the family that's growing, it's the number of people who hear about what a good time we have.
Yes,
You've
we
actually got
this
all
is
10.
sort of our first weekend, which the move was horrific. I will never, ever, ever do it again like that. We hired a van and we moved ourselves, literally. We got it the night before. And
Without help, just...
no, 3 friends came to help us, which were absolutely fantastic. I mean, without them, I don't know what we'd have done.
I had visions of you sort of in the outside shed, you know, camping overnight.
No, you have to be very courageous to do a move on your own, don't you? And yours is it's a big move. I mean, it's not that you've just
well,
got
I've
a few.
got all old, heavy furniture. I mean, it sort of took 6 of us to lift the sideboard. I mean, it's as long as this
6
table.
people and 9 hernias.
Oh, definitely. It was dreadful.
Have you got furniture for all the guest rooms as well?
No, I'm gradually getting it as we go through. I keep hurtling off to auctions and...
Yes, Sarah was telling
Did she
me that
tell you?
that you're going to be a
going to be a-
bed and breakfast lady.
That's it.
That I'm sure that's a lovely thing to do, actually. Unless you get a really horrible guest, but I mean,
No, we always probably get the odd one.
the odd one. But
Probably
it's a
can't
nice,
help.
sort of thing to do. Brings you in contact with people.
Exactly.
You've considered it for years, though, haven't you? It's been your sort of little thing. Yeah.
I enjoy it. I like meeting people. I used to run a hotel for my parents many years ago.
So you've got the
So
background.
I've done it before, yeah. But a friend of mine, Isabel, gave me this the night before we moved. And what I thought was so lovely is because she did it herself. I mean, we've had cards from people saying good luck in your new house, but this was lovely, I thought, because this obviously is our cottage that we had.
Looks very nice.
And we nearly moved like that, really.
What, with Cliff playing the piano?
Cliff playing the piano and me shouting, "Hey, Chopin, do you know we've got a puncher?"
Oh, I was terribly happy, though. The birds are singing and...
Yes. I can assure you
No
it
rain.
It wasn't. But
You'll have to frame it and
yes,
put it
I'm
in
going
your
to. I
hall.
said to her, I shall frame that. She said, if I knew you were going to do that, I'd have done it better. But I said, no, that's lovely.
Actually, it's better she didn't know, because that's so spontaneous. And if she'd have thought you were going to frame it, she might have, you know, tried to draw it better, and then it would have spoilt the effect.
Is there lots and lots of work to... I mean, have you got a cooker and stuff? I mean,
I took my cooker with me.
Accepted it years ago because it became so obvious. And I think the last time that I really took any notice and then decided that was it, I might as well just accept the situation, is we were just talking about the preference, I was talking about the preference that my mother has always had for my eldest brother. And I can remember a long time ago, I had driven about 200 miles to see my mother and father because I didn't live at home. My brother lived at home, and I was talking to my mother, telling her what I'd been doing, and the door opened and my brother came in, and her eyes left me and lit up. She said, "Oh, there's John." And he lived there.
My goodness.
And
How
I
did you
thought,
feel?
well, I minded at the time, but it was a long time ago, and it had always been like that, and it's still the same. You know, whatever he says...
And looking back, do you think that's right? Do you think... Can you understand that? I mean,
Oh, I
or do you
can't.
feel resentful?
Oh, I used to feel very resentful.
Yeah, but then
of course.
you were very, very close to your father, which often happens, that if a son goes sort of is very close to the mother, that the daughter is usually very close to dad.
Yes, and I think that she probably resented my closeness with him as well.
Yeah.
I think it's just, I don't think it's preference, it's kind of an attitude that you have to the opposite sex. I'm sure she loves you equally as much as she loves your brothers. And Lucy often thinks that I'm more tolerant with the boys, but it's not that, it's that I find it easier. I can scream at the boys without a second thought.
It's not a practical thing at all. It's an attitude. It's something that you may not even be aware of, but it's something that other people can very often see in a family.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the
Well,
family
I don't know,
can't see it.
we come from a family of two sisters and a brother, and I don't think we felt that at all.
No,
That,
in any way.
that the boy was preferred.
I wouldn't
I
say...
think-
Sorry, no, after you.
No, I was just thinking that I've noticed that some of the women I know who do find it easier to relate to their sons and think, you know, sort of have a special feeling towards their sons, are women who just relate better to men anyway. The sort of women who think men are more important, the sort of women who light up at a party when a man comes in, and they just can't get that same sort of feeling for a female, even when it's their own daughter.
Perhaps there's a competition thing in it, maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly, or they're just left over the idea that girl children aren't that important.
I think there is the competitive element enters into it with a mother and daughter frequently. You will find that just when the mother is getting to a rather difficult age, shall we say, and possibly losing her attraction for the opposite sex, and the daughter is just coming up to being a very attractive young woman, I think you often find a certain antipathy there.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
I think it's possible.
And in the same way with father and son, you would find the same kind of thing, I think, that the son is suddenly become very virile and grown up, and father rather resents it.
And don't you think that often the mother will be hoping that in the son all the faults of her own husband will be corrected? You know, that this is why she thinks that the son, especially the eldest one, is so perfect.
I think all parents think that, actually. I think that all parents dislike in their own children their own faults. I see my faults in my children and dislike that in them, you know. But I mean, you've seen me with both my children. Would you say that you had noticed any difference in my treatment or appearance? I mean, I don't become glassy-eyed the moment David comes in.
No, but I would say, in all honesty, that at one stage, yes, when they were both younger, I would say yes, I would have detected, as an outsider, just a difference between you and your son.
It's not.
Not now they're adults.
Deborah.
I would think the other way round with you. You seem terribly close to Deborah.
Yes, but I think that's as the girl grows older.
Exactly.
I think
They're
actual-
adults
yeah.
now. I'm talking about when they were younger.
Well, all I know is that I haven't got two to compare, but I relish having a daughter. I wanted to have a daughter.
Yeah.
I like feeling that I know the things she's going through, you know, which are to do with not just being a child, but being a girl child. And I really hope I don't get this thing when she gets older and I'm losing my looks. And she's older. It would be awful if I felt
didn't say it
resentment
happens with
towards
everyone. It does. It can, and it does.
I think
happen
it
with some
sometimes does
people.
with older mothers when their actual menopause coincides with
Yes.
adolescence, and
Yes.
then you get two very difficult periods that might
Yes.
both are
I always
irrational.
said that I found that out of choice, I mean, I've said it to Tracy, I would rather have had boys, all boys, than boys and girls. Only because I found the boys very, very much easier to bring up. You didn't have the dramas and the slamming of
Do you
doors.
find them easy to
I have slamming of
allow them
doors
to go?
with one of my...
Sorry, ma'am?
I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, do you find it easy to let them go? Because an awful lot of mothers find that very difficult with both their children.
Oh, yes,
you
I
know,
keep
both
trying to kick
sexes.
him out the nest, but he's going.
It's the desire to help with the daughter. And maybe you're harsher because you know what it's like and you want her to be quite perfect. Whereas with boys, you don't really know exactly the same problems or understand them so well. I think if I am harder with Lucy, it's because I see a lot of myself in her and I want to correct it, as you were saying just now, really.
You'll probably get on with her much better when she's married.
Oh, I get on
Because
very well with her now.
I found that Tracy and I have got